Hello again. We are on to our next project in the home. We have a bathroom, but it does not have a medicine cabinet to open and put your little doodads in there. So rather than going and buying a new one for $100, we happen to have this kitchen cabinet, 12 inches deep, that will turn into a magnificent medicine cabinet. So now we have to figure out how we are going to make it 3.5 inches deep. That's the depth that we have to work with behind the drywall and the 2x4. So we have to get it to 3.5, as well as keeping the back on it and making sure we still have shelves. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the door off so it's not in our way and we don't damage it. Get our handy dandy super drill here. That we have. Step one will be removing the back here. It's held on with some small little staples. Look like they're about 18 gauge on those. So we need to get that off. And we always need to make sure that we are using the proper safety gear and using our heads when we're trying to remove some parts. Always love demolition. So we start off then first with our 42-inch pry bar. It helps us get underneath the piece of wood much much more simply than using something small. And then it gives us an option of using the long leverage or the strong leverage size. Now we need to get it underneath there, and let's just assume that we didn't have this little gap here. So now how do you get the bar underneath the wood? There's only one way. You must use a little bit of motivation. Because I am not able to knock that under myself with my hand, we would not want to hurt our hands building our door, our back. So, I get my 10-pound maul to be able to help aid in putting this underneath on that. Now here we go, we're going to go ahead and hit this with a little bit of force on there, on this. Oh yeah, that might work out a little better. Great, all right. Thanks there, Dad. This does seem more appropriate for the job. Now let's remove this back off of here without having any damage to the back. Granted, it's not as much fun using a 22 ounce hammer, but we have to work with what we have. And we can start up here and hopefully not have to do much prying at all. Alright, so now we have it off, and with little to no damage on this. So that's a very good thing. I'm glad we used the appropriate tools to be able to remove the back. All right, excellent. Now we have the back removed. We have a few staples here, but those will get removed as well. So the next thing that we'll do is we need to find 3 inches in. And let's get my super duper handy dandy tape measure. Put that down here. 3.5. And that'll work out really good. Just need to cut on the inside of the line.
Good shelves.
Yep. So now we have all of that put together. I think we should be able to cut this with the cordless. Should be fine. Yep. We have some shelves in the way, but that's okay. So now we need to zing this thing across and get it done. And it's something that's about that depth.
Are you ready for
Is
the
it too much?
chainsaw?
The chainsaw sounds interesting. Right, so let's see here. How are we doing? That looks spiffy well.
Clamp?
I'm contemplating a clamp. But why use a clamp when you have a screw?
The board that you're cutting could be used as another one.
Yeah, I'm still videoing. Alright, great. So now we have our line drawn around the cabinet for the 3.5 inches from here to here. And I'm going to start cutting the ends because they're not quite as smooth as the rest. And what I did to give myself a smooth surface to draw the saw against is I put the 2x4 and screwed it onto the back. Now I'll have a smooth roll all the way through. Let's make sure we have maximum depth and that we are able to clear the whole depth, which looks like we will be. Let's do a test. Yep. So we're good. All right. Now let's cut. Okay, so now let's do the other side first, next, and then we'll do the edges. Matched up to the right distance away, and then we'll go ahead and inside there. Looking for on that part. Just okay. That looks good. Enough height here on the thingamajiggle. All right, here we go. Okay. So now we have most of it cut through. Now we just have to get through these parts here. So, unless I have a 31-inch bandsaw, we're gonna have to figure something out. Let's start with a nifty little cut upward. I'm gonna do this on the top. Use this so we keep from cutting into the other part. Okay, now on to the next side here. And just do another little. Oh, look at that. That's kind of spiffy. Well, we just found an easier way. Aha. Now we can see the base of our medicine cabinet. So we have a good cut there. set this piece aside. Now we still have to cut these boards, the two shelves in here. Doing this the easy way. Now again, let's make sure we use the proper tools. We have to get this knocked off, and it's being held on by some ferociously strong staples, and they're a 1/4 inch wide, maybe a 1/2 inch deep. So let's make sure we get those off with no problem. No need to struggle. All right, so to make sure that we get this done properly, we're going to make sure we have the proper motivation. All right, here we go on that. All right, get to hit this in there.
This,
All right, great. So now we have this front part pulled off. We have to remove the shelves so we can cut them straight across. We have to get this side off. Now this side is held on with some pretty sturdy 1/4 inch wide, 1/2 inch or more, possibly more than a 1/2 inch deep of the staples. So we must make sure that we have the proper motivation to remove those without causing too much struggle and issues for us as we are working on this. So now let's grab the proper motivation. All right, so, oh, yeah, that's gonna work. Okay, so now we're gonna tap on this lightly on here with our proper motivation. Okay, guys, here we go, and we got this here on, yes? Oh, that one might work a little better. Okay, all right, thanks. Well, I guess we'll go with the 22-ounce hammer. It's a beautiful hammer. Looks like a framing hammer, but it has a smooth face. Anyway, let's remove this. Here we go. All right. One piece. There's 2 pieces. Excellent. Now we don't need this part of the shelf, but we do need to get this piece off, because we need to add this to our build on this one to retain the structural integrity of the cabinet. Hopefully they did not use too much glue in here. Fortunate for us, built-in quality, there is no glue. But again, we do have to deal with those rather large staples. So, I guess then what we might do, we have a little gap in there, I think. There we go. Let's try the pry bar again here. We can maybe get this down. If we start here on top. Oh, and the proper one. We could try it, but that looks like too much work. Oh my. We have glue. Look at that. A strip of glue. I don't think it connected to anything, but there's our strip of glue. We have some staples here we'll have to remove. Get the proper tool for that. Yeah, all right, so we'll set that there. Now we have this shelf and this shelf. And don't need that one. I need to pop this piece off. This is the side. Excellent. Love how glue retains the shelf. All right. Okay, so now we just have to get these clamped on. Scratch the veneer. Okay. Test. Hot dog. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now we have everything cut through. we have our shelves that fit in nicely. And we're going to take these supports and we're just going to put them on the back side to support it in that manner. We're going to use 2 items to make sure that these shelves do not move and our supports stay there supporting. Well, one of the great things we're going to use is a little bit of glue. I don't mean any glue. I mean liquid nail. Nothing stands the test of time than liquid nail, especially when you don't want it where it is. The other modality that we're going to use to hold these in place is we're going to tack them in place with our air gun. Just a little tack to hold them in the place as the liquid nail sets up for the permanent hold. Well, I brought my gun out here. Now we're here to make sure that we have sufficient distance to get in through one side into the piece of wood here to hold it in place. Let's just check that. So we're going to use our old pieces of wood just to see how well these nails will hold them together and to make sure that we have enough depth with these nails. So we have our little gun and we're going to just, oh, there you go, held firm and tight. These 2 pieces of board are held firm together. I'm kind of firmly held onto my, the proper tool. Excellent. So we'll just slide it in underneath there and get a little bit of a leverage on that. And our tiny little nails are plenty deep to work into this. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the side here to hold these in on that. And we're going to just put this a little smaller on, well, I guess it might work. Okay. Sometimes people take the fun out of construction. Okay, so now the first piece that we're going to do, I don't know if you saw it, but instead of putting it on this way as it was in the cabinet, we're just going to take and put it underneath on the side. That'll give it sufficient support for what it will be holding and carrying. So we need to get ourselves our friendly liquid nail. No.
We're going to take our little piece here and start on the bottom.
Now, we have our medicine cabinet. We have it thin. We have our shelves, kind of thin. And then we're going to put our back on here. Okay, so now we have a back that we have to re-put on.
Okay, so now we have the back that's going to go on here. Make sure it lines up nice. So it lines up there. We get it lined up on the edges here. That side's good. That side's good. Now we just have to make sure we get it all back in there nicely. Back on.
Okay, great. Now we have it. We've got it completed. With all of our hard work, we have our 3.5 inch wide medicine cabinet. It's going to have a nice solid door on it, 2 very solid shelves with the back stuck onto it, looking good. Now we just have to go and cut a hole in our wall to mount our medicine cabinet. Pretty spiffy, I think.